Matt Lenihan Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store, Forged Irish Stout. We're here. Dave Coldwell. Dave, Ryan Garcia has missed the weight limit, 3.2 pounds over, agreed to pay $1.5 million fine. What is going on here? He's just sent a tweet out as well, going, I've got 3 pounds advantage. Making a mockery of it as well in the process. Says, I feel great, I've got a £3 advantage, let's go. Winners do what they have to do, I'm still sharp.
Mate, I'll be honest with you, right? For a long time now, we've seen it for weeks how he's been cracking on social media. Alarm bells have really been ringing for it. It just does not seem mentally in the right sort of frame of mind to go into the ring against anybody of any threat. Never mind against one of the smartest, most intelligent boxers out there. That's got, skills to burn and knows exactly what he's doing in that ring. This isn't a good look for Ryan Garcia. I hear some people saying, "Oh, he's playing, he's trolling and things like that." Not with the stuff he's been saying. He's been saying some pretty deep stuff, and it's quite disturbing. And to watch him, I've followed Ryan Garcia, as many of us, for quite a long time. And he's always been sharp. Like, yes, he's always chat a bit of shit. That's how he is. But he's flash, sharp, intelligent, and very clear in his words, and very, very witty. He's speaking a lot of mumbo jumbo now. I mean, you watched him at the press conference yesterday, and just his facial expressions, his hand gestures, and things like that. And then he's conflicted with the being very, very Christian to then telling people what he's going to do, in explicit terms. He's not right. I just look at him and I was around when, back in the days when Ollie McCall had a mental breakdown in the ring with Lennox Lewis in rematch. And I've said this right from the beginning of when we've seen him, how he's been weeks ago. That was my worry, is like, I'm getting them kind of vibes. I don't know what's happened to him. I just feel as though the people around him, to be kind of like ignoring this behavior and how he is, I think that's it's not a good look.
From the outside, obviously, everyone was questioning, saying, has he been looked at? And he's come out and said, look, I've had drug tests, I've had every sort of mental state sort of evaluation possible going to man. And if he's ticking all them boxes, it's almost like his promoters looking, going, what I'm not with him every. You think Oscar says something like, I'm not with him every second of the day. I can't almost babysit him, I think, in one podcast. But it's almost a case of, but you can see this kind of thing. And if he was trolling, you'd expect the weight to be made, kind of thing. Him turn.
Yeah, 100%.
That's where I'm at with it. I'm like, if you're really playing this blinder, which is riding on the horse and looking, going, you turn up in shape, actually ready.
Yeah.
You just a fight where you were dehydrated massively, apparently. That was used as the, look, I went in with a big disadvantage. You now got this opportunity to, there's no, believe it or not, I don't think there's any, clauses like he was restricted last time. Now's your opportunity. You've got a world title here. If you troll everybody and manage to pull this off and get that belt, this is unreal. Whereas I feel like if he wins now, he's coming in with a big weight advantage. That'll get thrown at him. And if he gets destroyed, then he's mentally not right. So it's almost like, who's the real winners here?
You see, I don't believe that there's any real winners in this, because if Devin Haney goes out and puts on a clinic and puts on a big... Listen, before all this came about and when the fight was made, I thought it was a really good fight and I liked the fight, but style-wise, and because Haney's so good, intelligence, ring generalship, boxing ability and skills, I thought he's going to ping him all night and I could see him stopping him. So I always thought that Haney was going to win the fight. But how this has gone, I kind of feel sorry for Haney, because it's kind of like, what do I do here? Because whatever this is where where he's at is, whatever he does in this fight,
yeah,
he's not going to get the full credit for it, because if he goes out there, puts on a great performance, people are going to rip him anyway and say Garcia shouldn't be in the ring, mentally he's gone, he's blah 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 blah. If he at all struggles in the fight, if Garcia comes out and goes wild and catches me a couple of shots and it makes it interesting for a few rounds or whatever, then he's going to get slated because Garcia's mentally not right. And I just feel as though he's in a no-win situation.
great.
And I feel for Haney because he's done his job. Can you imagine how incredibly difficult? Listen, professional people talk, oh, it's your job. I understand it's your job to be dedicated. I understand it's your job to prepare professionally and take everybody seriously, right? But a lot of times when you are that good and you're that late, and when this is going off, something like what we saw it with Fury with Ngannou, you know, regardless of what it says, you know, it kind of took, he'll train, but he'll kind of thought, yeah, but he's not very good, and I don't really need to push myself. Whereas Haney, he must have been training thinking, is this fight going to happen? Because I've seen how kids in the gym, prospects and fighters coming through, where you're hearing rumors a fight is about to fall through, or you're waiting for a promoter to announce the fight even, and you've been told this date, but nobody's mentioned it. Is it happening? Is it? And you see that where the training, but it's hard to be very, very 100% focused because you think the fight is not going to happen, and then it's 100% right. Okay, right. It's almost like a mental stimulant. But with Haney, he's been preparing like this for weeks, thinking and having the entire world on social media saying this fight ain't happening. This fight's not happening. So he's had to go through all that, and to probably not get the reward for it at the end of it is a bit hard done to on it.
Last one from me, Dave. Last one. If this was a smaller show, not the names that we'd be expected, etc., not the millions on the line, do you think a Derek James, an Oscar De La Hoya, all these people who are involved in the Ryan camp would go, this ain't happening? Or do you think
so? This is where it gets a little bit. It's not quite as black and white. This is where it's not quite, because everybody signed a contract for the fight to happen. So I can't. If let's say he's had the mental tests and drug tests, he's passed or whatever. Let's say he's passed everything, right? Then how can a promoter then turn around and say, I'm pulling out of the fight? He leaves himself open to be sued. So I kind of feel for Golden Boy and Oscar, because it's like, it's all right. Your first breath is, what are you doing promoting this? That is your initial reaction. And it was my initial. I was like, and then obviously you sit and you think, oh, I used to promote. And it's like, you realize, oh, hang on a minute. There are contracts. They can't just decide, oh, I'm not putting on the show, or I'm pulling you. You can't do that because he's contracted. And if he hasn't failed psychology tests or drugs tests and he is fit to fight, then how do you pull a fight? You can't do that. And so their hands are kind of tied. And I'm watching De La Hoya and Golden Boy. I'm watching how they're speaking at the press conference. They know that the stuff that he's saying is batshit crazy. The stuff that he's saying is quite disturbing, and how he's carrying off. But they're almost trying to gloss it over because there's nothing they can do about it. So I kind of feel for them in that way. I just feel it's a really bad look all around for the sport. Mm-hmm. And I would like to know, because obviously I'm not a psychologist, but what kind of tests has he done to prove that he's mentally capable? And listen, we have people that have multiple personalities and things like that. 1 minute they can seem fine, completely fine, you think they're all right, and then next minute a completely different dimension to a personality comes out, and it's the complete opposite of that. So how do you not know that when he's being evaluated, that Ryan Garcia is all right, and then all of a sudden the pressure, maybe it's just the pressure of the cameras, maybe he's snapped and he can't handle the pressure of the cameras and everything like that. Maybe it's that kind of pressure that where he's just going, and kind of that's how he's behaving. I don't know. I'm not an expert on these things, but it's a tricky look, and I don't think it's a good look for the sport. But it's kind of like, what would you do? I don't know what you do, because you can't then say, well, a promoter, if he feels that you're not psychologically fit to take the fight, he can pull you out, because then without the testing and without being actually proven medically that you're not fit to fight, then a promoter could say that about anybody. Tickets are bombing and say, well, do you know what? I don't think you're fit to fight. I'm cancelling. So you can't really just, you can't put it on the promoter side and blame them. The only ones that I would say has got to be his family.
Yeah.
Has got to, that they're the one, they're at the end of the day, the dad, the mum, whatever, they're a tight team. Now they know the son. So they must know whether there's something going on or not. And you would like to think that they've made enough money out of the sport and they love the son enough not to put money in front of the son's health and not to put him on this, and to be strong enough to say, no, Ryan, you are not boxing. We are pulling you out. But then again, he's a grown-ass man. So whether you're, once you've got a kid that's now an adult, no matter as a parent what you want to say, if they choose to go against you, there's nothing you can do. And then you kind of just have to support them and say, we'll be here for you, So maybe it's that, and maybe we'll know more after the fight. But I just think it's quite scary, and it's not nice. It's not nice to watch.
100%. Well, look, it's going to be an interesting 24 hours to see what happens. Dave, I really appreciate you taking it on short notice. It was short notice. You're always seemingly available, and it's good to catch up with you on this kind of stuff. Hopefully we can catch up after the fight and we'll see what happens. But yeah, thanks for jumping on very quickly.
Cheers, mate. Nice one.
Thank you, Dave.